We are on the eve of Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch launched 8 years ago, March 3rd, 2017, and here we are 8 years later. It is June 4th, the Nintendo Switch launches June 5th, which is tomorrow, and I am picking up my system midnight tonight because some stores are doing midnight releases, and my local Smith Toys Superstore is doing a midnight release. Let's go wait. Now we are here. The wait begins in line for the Nintendo Switch 2. We are first in line. A few people are showing up now, so it's not just me waiting here. I was wondering what this is going to be like because it's pouring down a rain. I was wondering if anyone's going to turn up because it's been that long since we've really had a midnight launch for really anything at all. So it's pretty insane that we're having this tonight for the Switch 2. And there's a few people behind us in line here. We're first in line. There's a couple more people showing up. So the wait begins. The wait begins for Switch 2. The joys of midnight launches. It's so weird doing one of these. It's been so long since the last one I've done. Now, to pass the time, I'm going to play the Nintendo Switch 1 one last time. And there's no other game fitting for this occasion than playing some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the last time to really give that game a send-off because it really does deserve it. So the Nintendo Switch, still bringing people together, and what better way to, again, send off the Nintendo Switch 1 than right here waiting for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's like you see in the commercials, as people, the Nintendo Switch bringing people together, playing things like Mario Kart on the go, just whipping out a Joy-Con and sharing the joy with someone, having a two-player game of Mario Kart. Here we go. The Switch 2 era begins. What an incredible midnight launch this was. I met some incredible people, Isaac and Stella. Thank you so much for just being an absolute pleasure and a joy to talk to. Playing some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, giving it a send-off. And it's just, I've met some really great people tonight. Now, picked up 2 Nintendo Switches, a Pro Controller, and 2 copies of Cyberpunk. The Switch 2 era begins. Oh, and Isaac, I'll see you on the track. So many accessories, where to even begin? I do know I definitely want an official Nintendo Switch 2 carry case, a screen protector, and even the camera for voice chatting with game chat with friends and putting yourself in game using the camera as well. It's more of a gimmicky feature there, but I'll probably only use it once or twice, but I still want it. The Switch 1 felt like a toy in comparison to the Nintendo Switch 2. This feels premium, it feels familiar, but it feels so much more comfortable to hold. There's also a micro SD card slot here on the back, but it's not just any micro SD card slot, it's a micro SD Express card that's built for Switch 2. That's ready for Switch 2 because of the Switch 2's speeds and capabilities. It's not just supporting any standard micro SD card. Game cards on the Switch 1 are now red, and there's this mechanism that just pops up here, and I feel like this is a lot better than on the Switch 1. It isn't as flimsy when it comes to putting in your game cards. It just slides open from the back and in goes your game card. And the game cards are also red now. We have red game cards instead of grey, and that's how you know it's a Nintendo Switch 2 game over a Nintendo Switch 1. I bet they still taste horrible though. There's a kickstand on the back, there is a USB-C charging port on the top and a USB charging port on the bottom as well, and the Joy-Cons, there is these mechanisms here on the back. You click them in and the Joy-Cons literally just pop off. The Joy-Cons are magnetized. The SL and SR buttons are also larger as well. These are taller, bigger, and a lot better to hold in the hand, a lot more comfortable. So it's not Joy-Cons on rails anymore where you slide them in like Switch 1. They just magnetically pop on like so. And when they're on there, these ain't coming off. These are very sturdy. A lot more sturdy than Switch 1, that's for sure. The screen looks amazing. It feels incredible to hold, so premium, a very similar feel to holding a Steam Deck with its size. With its 7.9-inch LCD HDR 1080p display that can go up to 120 Hz in handheld mode with a much higher refresh rate to the old Nintendo Switch. It looks sharp, really sleek and clean, and it sounds crisp. The speakers are louder and bigger as well. Now, the menu of the Nintendo Switch 2 is what we all know and love. There's just subtle changes here and there. Like, the circles around the icons is a different color. The sound of the icons is also a different color when you click into them. And also it looks a lot more sharper on the Switch 2 compared to the Switch 1. But the eShop though, the eShop has changed its colour to red instead of orange, which I honestly think is a lot more fitting because the Nintendo branding is all red. So having the eShop all red there I think works a lot better than the orange there. I do like that change there. And there's a few little new icons added here as well. Browsing the eShop is fast, snappy and responsive, and it's had an overhaul for Switch 2 that just looks super clean. And just the whole experience of Nintendo Switch 2, it heightens everything that was great about the first Switch and just makes everything better, bigger, and just so much more smoother with everything we do on our Nintendo Switch. I'm honestly loving it. I am honestly loving my time with this console. the games, Cyberpunk plays phenomenally well on this console. It looks incredible. It looks on par almost with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of that same game. I just can't wait to keep on playing and diving into those amazing games. Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, to see how that compares with the Nintendo Switch version, play more of Mario Kart, and finally jump in with the breakout feature of Switch 2. Well, one of them, Game Chat, where you can party chat with your friends, all free roaming around and racing each other on Mario Kart World. And if you have the camera as well, you can jump in and video chat and put yourself in the game as you are racing around the course, and also game sharing with friends with different games as well. I cannot wait to utilize all of those features. Another really big feature of Switch 2 that I can't really show here, but that is mouse mode, where you take off the Joy-Cons and use this as a mouse, and you can use it on your legs like so, and it still works. I haven't played around with this on my own Switch, but I did get hands-on with that during the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in London, and just how it seamlessly switches between controller and mouse mode. It's just incredible, and how it's going to play with first-person shooters as well, like Metroid Prime 4, Call of Duty potentially coming this year to Switch, and just the way first-person shooters are going to be is going to be insane on this system because of mouse mode. I also do believe that we are going to see a lot, potentially a lot, of PC ports come to Nintendo Switch because of mouse mode. This thing is amazing. There is also the GameCube app, the GameCube that is exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2 online members. It has 3 games on there. Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. We can finally play that game again. Oh, I cannot wait. Soul Calibur and F-Zero GX, and even more coming. I cannot wait to dive into Super Mario Sunshine and many more GameCube games that we can now play on Switch. Absolutely mind-blowing. I'm going to dive into them all. And I really hope, though, the game that I am really hoping and praying for most, that hopefully it comes to this service at some point in the future, is Star Fox Adventure. That is one of my favourite games of all time, Star Fox Adventure. I absolutely love that game. So hopefully this will come to the service at some point in the near future. And I've also ordered the GameCube Switch Online controller as well, that should have arrived at some point today. So hopefully that's going to be there when I get home, so I can dive into some of these the way they are meant to be played with the GameCube controller. This thing, but in purple. I had to pick up a Pro controller because I love this controller. I tried it at the London experience and fell completely in love with how comfortable and ergonomic this controller feels in the hand. It feels very similar to an Xbox controller, but this may be my favourite controller of all time. I said that, I mean it, yes, because it just feels incredible. It's the same as the previous Switch controller, really, but I don't know, Nintendo has really nailed it with this controller and just how it feels in the hand. It feels just so smooth to hold, and the sticks are so much better as well, and it's rubberized. Doesn't feel plastic, doesn't feel like a toy. And the accent here of white or grey, depending on how you look at it and depending on the light, it's a bit more of a light grey, I think, than a white. And it's a really nice control. And of course there's the game chat button on there as well to bring up game chat, which is the big feature. Now, when the Nintendo Switch is docked, it supports 4K resolution with HDR up to 60 frames per second. It can also support 120 frames when the resolution is dropped within the settings. There is a big fan built into the Nintendo Switch 2's dock to basically allow us, when it comes to these graphically intense games, the fan will be working overtime to make sure it's running cool, to make sure it is running as smooth as possible when it's upscaling our games to 4K. And it's just, man, games like Cyberpunk, just being able to use it in handheld mode and play Cyberpunk in handheld mode or tabletop mode and then dock the Switch, pick up a controller or pick up the Joy-Cons from the Switch and just continue playing right where you left off. Also, the microphone is insanely good on the Switch. Voice chatting is very good. When I had my Switch docked, I was quite far away from the console, and the microphone is located on top of the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. And there was no background noise, no echoing. I didn't sound far away. I sounded crisp and clear, and so did my friend. It has really good noise cancellation to just focus on the voices that come through the microphone, sounding crisp and clear. And also, the GameCube controller has arrived here as well, so now I can play all of those GameCube classics in style using an official GameCube controller like back in the day, how it is meant to be played. Wow, this feels good in the hand. This is bringing back all of those memories. The floodgates are wide open right now. I cannot wait to dive into Wind Waker with this controller. It's exclusive for Nintendo Switch Online members, and it's perfect on Switch 2 to dive into all of those GameCube games. The Nintendo Switch 2 era has officially begun.